Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, coming at you with some more strategy games with AoE 3DE, and today I'm going to be giving you some more Aztec content. As I mentioned in the recent poll that I did, I've already released my first video of me getting back into the Aztecs, and today I'm going to be showing you a beginner's guide for a rush strategy with the Aztecs. This is not an all-in strategy, so don't worry about that. You do build up some economical advantage behind it as well. And I will be showing you the deck that I'm using, and also I will showcase a recent replay that I played against someone in the 1200 ELO bracket. So if you guys like the sound of that, and you like the other videos that I post on my channel, please feel free to drop a like. And as you know, you can catch me streaming on Twitch at Widgie1. Let's do this. Right guys, we are straight into the action. So I'm going to be putting up now a screenshot of my deck. So please feel free to pause if you want to copy this. As I always mentioned before, pretty much 95% of that deck is going to look very similar to the one that you can find on Aussie Drungo's Discord server. So I suggest you just go check that out if you haven't already. You can find all sorts of decks for 1v1, team, land and water, all on his server there, and he does update them regularly depending on the meta and stuff like that. But as you know, Aztec are quite low down there. They're not hugely popular at the moment, but as I say, I am showcasting these unusual civs just like I have with China, and now we are of course looking at Aztec. So without further ado, let's hit that play button, and I'm playing against a French opponent called Tiger Fejden. It's a strange one, and I'm going to be showing you what I do here. So if you're completely new to Aztec, you kind of want to prioritize on obviously gathering your crates up first. You have got your Explorer, and he has a little Eagle Scout. I tend to keep them together. However, I guess you could use him to explore a bit. What you want to make sure is when you are going for treasures, try not to let your Eagle Scout attack the treasure first, because the Guardian will come after your Eagle Scout, and he only has 80 health. And I do keep losing my Eagle Scout, so just make sure that you get your Chieftain to do that first, to aggro it. What you also want to make sure, if you can, is the final hit. Make sure that the final hit is committed by someone who is not your Chieftain. So ideally your Eagle Scouts, because the Chieftain, his aura will allow other units to gain more XP for killing units. So that's what his aura is, and that's what it provides to your military units and also to your villagers and stuff as well, I think. So just bear that in mind. First buildings that I'm going to be putting down are the community plaza and the house. That is the first two buildings, and I'm going to be left with 100 wood. Now what I was originally doing, I was building 2 houses instead, but I think just having the one is more ideal because it gives you still a good amount of wood there to start to macro for your war hut when you go into H2, but I'll be showing you that very shortly. So all you want to do is just herd, very sort of standard, you know, gather your crates, start herding, bringing the animals towards your TC, and then using your explorers to go around the map. You can see here, just gathering the treasures up. The easier ones that I can take down, of course. And this is going to be quite tricky because we are playing against a French opponent. Now, French are one of the strongest civs, probably top 3, top 4 civs. Very, very strong. So it's kind of scary for Aztec because, you know, we aren't the strongest civ, but we're here to have fun and try different civs and all that. And that's what I want you guys to do as well. Try and just play those unusual civs. It doesn't matter too much in the sort of beginner to intermediate level on the ladder. Honestly, doesn't really matter what civ you play. Going to be honest with you, you know, because you're playing against people who are still very new to the game, just still trying to understand basic macro stuff. So it doesn't matter a great deal in the lower end of the ladder. And that's sort of where I am still. I'm just over 1200 ELO now. I mean, that's slightly above average. Slightly above average. Anyway, you can see here that our Chieftain has an ability to convert humanoids or human units like mercenaries. And this is what I do here. But annoyingly, the Explorer decides to take the treasure here, which is 130 coin, which is actually absolutely huge. And that was really annoying. 130 coin for French is great because they will most likely be getting hussars out and stuff like that. And that will really help them for their gold gathering. So as I say, what you want to also do is make sure that the community center is set on the experience points per second. Now, if you're not too sure how the community center works, it's basically like it's a trickle. It's a type of trickle or a type of bonus to either your units attack, fertility, which increases the speed of which you train units, which is kind of crazy. And it all depends on how many warrior priests or how many villagers you have working on the community center. So you have a maximum of 25, and you can only recruit a maximum of 10 warrior priests. Warrior priests you want to focus on the most because they actually provide double the speed of one villager. So they are super good at doing that. Now we are aging up. We are aging up with the messenger. So the messenger will be a quick age up. Now, the reason we need a quick age up is because we're doing a beginner's rush. We're rushing. We need to get into the age as quickly as we can. And as we transition between age 1 and age 2, we're going to be switching the majority of the villagers from food to wood so that we can get ready and we can build a forward war hut, which is our barracks, essentially. And that's going to be going out ideally into the middle of the map, but more towards the opponent's side, so that we're ready as we get into the next stage. And that's what we're doing here. And with Aztec, you do get XP very quickly, especially if you have your war chief with your military units. As I mentioned, his aura will give you more XP as you kill more units. So you will be getting shipments quite quickly, and it's always good, the majority of the time, to be staying on the dance that gives you, not the dance, you can't call it dance nowadays because it's no longer a fire pit, it's now a community center, but you know what I mean, the ritual or whatever that gives you the XP per second. So we have aged up, and the first thing that we're going to go for is we're going to be going for 700 wood. So you can see here that I've gone for the 3 villagers, I've gone for the 700 wood, and my next card, I believe, is going to be the 3 warrior priests. Now, a lot of people will probably say, why don't you go for the units? Because you need to rush. You can do, however, the warrior priests will really give you that advantage with being able to get XP a lot quicker in the long run. And the earlier you get this card, the better off you are because you can reap more of the benefits a lot earlier. Now, it's entirely up to your playstyle, but I'm showing you a rush here. It's a later rush, but it does give you the economic stability, you know, which most likely if you are new and you're learning the Civ, you're most likely going to fail a lot of your initial rushes. I mean, you're learning the Civ. So it's always good to have a plan B. And if you have some economy behind you, you still have a chance of winning the game. And that's exactly what I'm showing you here. You know, I don't want to show you like an all-in rush. I mean, it's great, all-in rushes, you know, and most of the time they can work, but they are quite cheesy. That word cheesy, if you haven't heard of it, it's just sort of like you're not really understanding the core fundamentals of the Civ. You're just exploiting something to try and get a quick win, which is fine if you want to do that, but this is not what I'm showing you. So the 700 wood comes out, and because 700 wood is out, we kind of want to move pretty much everyone away from wood now, because we're going to be gathering this wood up, and it's going to give us 700, which is significant, and we just want to sort our macro out. You know, we don't need to have a ton of people chopping wood anymore. And our war hut has now been built. So the minute you build a war hut, I suggest training coyote runners. Now, coyote runners are quite heavy on food, not so much on wood. So the 700 wood is going to be plenty. So what you kind of need to do really is just move the majority of your vills over to food, because you are going to need to gather a lot of food, and you're going to need to gather it very quickly. You can see here now that I'm still creating villagers. And my next card, as I mentioned, is the 3 warrior priests. So I decided to build the war hut right next to their trading post that they built. And also the war hut is next to a hunt as well, which is quite nice. I always suggest, I forgot to mention this, I always suggest either sending 2 or 3 villagers minimum out to the place that you're going to build your war hut. Don't just send 1 villager, send 2 or 3. Once it's built, then get them gathering the nearest hunt or chopping wood or whatever you require. Ideally gathering food, because you're going to really need a lot of food for your coyote runners, because they're 85 food each. And also constant villager production is 100 food as well. So you can see here I've moved everyone over to food now. And I am building houses. See, so the use of the wood is going to be crucial because you are going to use a lot of population. I'm just letting you know, you're going to be getting a lot of XP, which means you're going to be able to get military cards, which require a lot of experience. Now we have the 4 warrior priests on. Look at that. We went from 1 and we've bumped up to 4.15 experience points per second. So we have quadrupled the amount of experience that we are receiving, and that is going to help us in the long run. I've got more coyote runners here. And my next card now is going to be a military card. And I'm going to be going for the spearmen here. Now, this is all dependent on the civ you're playing against. However, with French, most of the time they will get cavalry out. Same with Dutch. You'll most likely see some cav or hussars that will come out. So in this instance, I decided to go for the spearmen as my first military unit. But you can go for the 9 slingers and then go for the 8 slingers, or go for the 9 slingers and go for the 6 spearmen and then go for the slingers. It's whatever you feel like you're confident with. It depends on the situation and how successful your rush was and how many units you've lost and what you need and stuff like that. It's kind of difficult to sort of explain. It's very situational. But most of the time I'll go for the slingers first. But in this instance I went for the spearmen. Now you can see, look at all that wood. All that wood is gone now. That 700 wood that I needed, I've used it all up. Mainly to build houses and to get my coyote runners out. So I need to just make sure that I'm on top of my macro and that I'm moving some villagers over to gather wood. I do have the option to get my 600 wood in. So there is an option there, but we'll see what I go for. So now I've got a significant amount of coyote runners. And he is pushing out with musks. He saw my war hut, so he's already starting to build walls here. You can see he's going quite defensive here, and I'm gonna need. And this is really bad on his behalf. He's got some veals out here in the open that he's gonna lose. So losing 4 veals there is quite significant for the French. That's gonna really hurt for him. That's one of the things that he did wrong there. He didn't keep an eye on all of his villagers, and he lost 4 of them. You can see here that I've got a lot of food, so my macro is a little bit wrong here. So don't do what I'm doing here. Try and avoid that. Try and move some more over to wood if you can. I am getting my next card, which is the 9 slingers, which I mentioned. So I've got my spearmen coming over here. Got some slingers here to siege down the walls there. See if we can get in a bit easier, because he hasn't walled off around this corner, so I'm going to go round here and see what I can do. Coyote runners are really good at raiding. They're really good at raiding. They're high speed. Basically treat coyote runners as cavalry. So you want to be careful of spearmen, pikemen. You want to be careful of that for the coyote runners. Any sort of thing that's anti-cavalry, anything like that, just be careful. They're really good at raiding villagers and just harassing and stuff like that. So, I suggest that that's how you sort of treat them. They are good against archers and stuff like that, of course. He has brought more of his villagers out, which is kind of silly of him. But he manages to get them back. Look at my food. See, I've got a real problem here with my macro, and I'm going to try and sort it out now. I've got way too much food. And I've got more slingers now. 14 slingers in total. That's my next shipment. Got to be careful. Musketeers will do damage to your coyote runners, so try not to get them involved in combat with them too much. I still haven't sorted my macro. I don't know what I'm doing here. Right now I'm sorting it out. So you're going to make mistakes. That's just how it is. You're going to make mistakes. What I suggest you doing is a quick tip. If you do have a lot of food and you have mismacroed, then you can use the Aztec scouting party, which is the big button on your town center. So if you click your town center, there will be a big button for that, and that will give you 3 Jaguar Prowl Knights, and we'll see that. I'm going to be getting those in, and that's just another military unit. I think they're good at cavalry, I believe. Don't quote me on that though. I'm sure we'll figure it out. As you can see, those slingers are doing quite a good job there against the heavy infantry, the musketeers. And that's where you got to Got to try and get those counters in the best you can. And as I said at the start, there is going to be quite a bit of micro here. A little bit of micro, making sure that you don't lose too many units and just constantly keeping that pressure going. And you can see here I could still get more villagers off of food, you know. I'm still sort of not macroing the best. And now I've got the Jaguar Prowl Knights here. Have I just come off the lock? There we go, Jaguar Prowl Knight. They're heavy infantry, good against cavalry and heavy infantry. So they're actually good against the musks and the cav. So 2 good units here, very, very good. And they've got high siege as well, which is quite nice. Okay, so annoyingly, I got 5 villagers from my home city. So I'll show you what I got. So just to go from order again, I got the 3 vills. I then went to get the 700 wood. I then got my 3 warrior priests. Then I went for the spearmen because I'm going against the French. I went with the 9 slingers, and I could have gone for some more military, but I wanted to get a little bit of eco. So I went for the 5 villagers. Could have gone for more military, but I decided to go for that. Now you can see here that our opponent's got majority crossbowmen here, which the coyotes are really good at crossbowmen. So I'm feeling quite good about this engagement, but just got to be careful here. I do love the animation of these slingers. It's really, really cool. They got quite a high fire rate. Seems to be doing quite a good job. I'm gathering food there next to the war hut, which is nice. I'm still sort of quite high on the macro there for food. Really need to get people over to wood. We have another point now, another XP point. Once again, those warrior priests that I got out, those 3 extra warrior priests, doing me really well for the extra XP. And those Jaguar Prowl Knights are going to be doing work, as you can see there, against the 2 musketeers. And we're just going to back off because we barely have any units left. And we don't want the TC to keep firing at us. So we're just going to try and take down some of their military buildings. Yeah, there's still range on the TC there. And now we're starting to sort our macro out, getting some more over to wood, which is nice. And I've switched the ritual on my community center. So this is another thing with Aztecs, which can be very tricky sometimes, is making sure that, you know, you've got the right ritual. I think it's ritual selected. Most of the time you'll have the XP one, which we've had for most of the game. If you are planning on taking a fight, I suggest switching quickly to the damage one. As you can see, that gets us an 8.6% damage increase, which is really significant. Trust me, that's huge. That will really, really help. And then there is the fertility one as well. And also there's another one which spawns excess warrior priests. So there is a big sort of learning curve with the Aztecs. So just to bear that in mind. You can see here we don't have a huge amount of units, but neither does he. And we're just trying to whittle him down. See, look, those slingers are really getting us a lot of XP. Because we've got a war chief now. Unfortunately, he's died again. We've got to be careful of that, because that's getting him 100 XP every time. Now the 3 hussars come out of his home city, which is kind of scary for us. So we're just going to back off, because we don't have the units. And we don't want to lose all the slingers here. So we're just going to retreat. It's not worth it. Just going to retreat, reorganize, and then take the fight. Now this is a good fight here. This is relatively good micro from my side. You can see that I'm trying to focus the slingers as best I can on the musketeers and the coyote runners on the hussars. And then I'm getting the coyote runners out of there because I don't really want them to be engaging the musketeers. And they've still got the slingers here. Still doing work. Very, very good unit for the amount of resources that they're worth. And there we go. Just thought I'd show you that. Quite good micro there. You can see my macro is sorting itself out. Still a ton of food. I could maybe like potentially age up here. I could go for the 600 gold shipment, which is here. And then I could get ready to age up into the fortress age. But I decided to keep harassing, and I've built down a second war hut, which you can do. If you're getting that excess wood and you feel like it's going well, put another war hut down and see if you can fight them in age 2. If not, if you don't think it's going very well, then just back off, sort out your macro, and then see if you can get into age 3. That's what I would suggest. And also, what I would suggest as well is taking a couple of your villagers and putting them onto the community center and selecting the ritual which spawns warrior priests. Because when you get the full 10 warrior priests, your community center is extremely powerful. It's very, very powerful. It can really help you. So now we've got another shipment, and we are getting 5 coyote runners. So still more military that I'm getting out. I am just basically just taking out anything that he's getting out of the barracks. We're looking quite good on score here, especially against a French player. And I kind of didn't really know what to do here. I was really confused. I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't really have the units to siege. That's the only issue with the Aztecs early on. You only really have the spearmen and the 3 Jaguar Prowl Knights, which I unfortunately lost. And I lost the spearmen as well. I did lose quite a lot of units here. Probably want to try and conserve as many as you can, especially the ones that are good at sieging. Because you can see here, the coyote runners and the slingers are really not that good at sieging. But I am just trying to pummel him with as many units as possible. You can see that I've got 10 more coyote runners on the way. I am getting hunting dogs to help me with my eco. And he has got some... Yeah, he's got like 700 food. Or yeah, 700 food shipment. And I'm just denying him of trying to get those resources. I could be sneaky and try and get a villager to collect this, but I decided not to. So still, like, we are using our resources quite well. Nothing's really stacking up too high. I think I've got quite a good mix on the amount. Probably a little bit too much now on wood, but it's not looking too bad. I'm just picking off anything that comes out. He's got his villagers that he keeps popping out. I'm trying to sort those out, but really there's nothing much I can do because the coyote runners don't really have a lot of siege. So I was struggling to think about what buildings to prioritize to take down. Probably want to take down the outpost maybe and some houses that are on the outskirts. That's what I would suggest. You can see here I've got quite a lot of wood. And you can see now that I believe I moved some villagers. Yeah, I moved some villagers onto the community center, like I mentioned. And now I've switched to the fertility ritual, which is going to make me get villagers and troops out a hell of a lot quicker. I suggest that if you want to do the fertility, sometimes if you have excess food and you quickly need to use it, moving some villagers onto the community center, switching to fertility will mean you'll get those villagers out a lot quicker and you'll use your food a lot quicker. So it does take quite a bit of time to understand how best to use the community center, and I think that's why people are put off by native civilizations, especially the Aztec, because the Aztecs will pretty much use the community center right at the start of the game. You know, whereas the other civs, not so much. I took down his explorer again, which is a nice 90 experience. And now I'm just starting to take down any houses. I'm just taking down... He's got some more crossbow units, which I'm easily clearing up with the coyotes. And they go down. So this is just sort of whittling him down, just constantly pummeling him with troops, not stopping, making sure that I'm constantly on him, not letting him reinforce and try and build up, just really nailing him and stopping him from getting any troops out. And if he does get troops out, I'm just going to hit them and get rid of them and dispatch them as soon as I can. So you can see the macro is going a little bit wonky. I'm getting a little bit too much wood, so I am moving a substantial amount over to food. And at this point, I decide to go for the gold. You know, because if you look here, like, I'm running out of cards to use. I could have gone for the Coyote Combat, which is quite significant. 10% speed, 20% hit points. However, I thought, you know what, I think it's the best time to try and see if we can do an age up, or we can get some coin in. We could use the coin to get some spearmen. Spearmen can help siege down buildings. So you can see here, I'm trying not to let my coyotes engage the musketeers, letting the slingers do that. And you can see here, I'm sorting out the macro a little bit. Need to get Need to keep getting units out. Got to make sure to keep spending that to get units. And I'm getting a couple more houses. I don't really know why I am. That's quite an interesting thing from me there. Not too sure why I did that. He's getting more crossbow units out. I think the issue with the French player here, he didn't build a stables. Stables are kind of really annoying for Aztec because the only thing we have against it are Puma Spearmen. And ideally, you don't tend to train Puma Spearmen very early, depending on what you do. Anyway, dispatching that crossbow unit. I was very noobish in the way that I was trying to defeat this base here. I didn't really know what to do because the siege was so bad for all of my units. And he's just getting more crossbow out again. And I'm just dealing with the crossbowmen. Just dealing with I'm going to start to move some villages over to gold now because I want to get it. And the GG is there from Tiger. Now, Tiger did mention in chat, you didn't really see it here. He does say, okay, GG, and then he says, how do you find this play style enjoyable to play? That's what he said. So obviously he was quite mad because I rushed him. But you guys got to remember that rushing is pretty much the weakest thing on AoE 3, especially Definitive Edition. It's a lot harder to rush. It's easier to defend. So if you do a rush and it happens and you pull it off, congratulations. You know, that's good because you are at a disadvantage overall when you do rush in this game. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that run through. That is just one example. Of course, certain things will change with how you select certain units for the deck, but there we are. Right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that replay run through of me playing against a French opponent just around the 1200 elo bracket, just to give you an idea of the level of skill. And I just want to run through just an overview of the deck again and the order that I did things in that game. So first things first is obviously going for the 3 villagers. That's what you want to do. Next is going for the 700 wood, and then it's going for the 3 warrior priests. Now this bit you could sort of change. Instead of going for the 700 wood, if you wanted to really pressure them with more units, you could go for the 9 slingers, or you could go for the 6 spearmen, and then go for the warrior priest, and then go for 700 wood. The only reason that I go for the wood first is so I don't have to worry about chopping it so much, you know. And trust me, you will use the wood because both your coyote runners and slingers will cost you food and wood. And you'll need a lot of population as well, so you're going to be building houses and stuff like that. So 3 villagers, then it's 700 wood, then 3 warrior priests, and then your first military unit. Most of the time I'll go for 9 slingers. If they have a lot of cav, I'll go 6 spearmen. So 9 slingers, then go for the 8 slingers, or go for the spearmen, then go for the spearmen, then the world is your oyster. You could go for 5 coyote runners, you could go for the 5 vills if you want to get some more economy. If you want to age up, go for the 600 gold. If you still need more wood, most of the time you won't need more wood, but if you do need to build like a second war hut or something like that, then go for the 600 wood. But that is pretty much the starter. I'm going to give you that. I'm not going to show you what you need to do in age 3, age 4, anything like that. This is a rush guide, so we kind of want to end it in age 2. If we can't end it, then we have a plan of getting the 600 gold, getting the extra 400 as soon as we can, so that then we can age up. Okay, guys. So I hope you really enjoyed this guide. I haven't really done a specific build order guide in a while, so let me know what you think in the comments below, whether I've missed anything out for the beginner's rush for Aztec. Give it a go on the ladder, give it a go against computers, give it a go on the casual. Let me know what you guys think of it and if there's anything that I need to change. And as I say, if you enjoyed this video and many others on the channel, please feel free to drop a like. And as always, you can find me streaming on Twitch at Widgie1. Let's do this. Wait, let's do this. Bye! Let's do this, Jesus Christ.